So these are the bullocks just coming up for breakfast now. These are steers and heifers. As always, they all came out of dairy cows, so they are dairy crosses. We've got blues, Herefords, limos, Simmentals here. I've probably missed one, but they're all doing really well. These are around 22, 23 months old now. All doing exceptionally well. We've had, like I said in the video with the calves, we've had a really good time with the grass. So they're not on very much food at all at the moment. Around £2, £1.5, £2 each a day. We've got our TB test as well, 21st of September, and then these will be getting sold for stores. We are hoping that some of the heifers would actually go to be suckler cows, which would actually be lovely. Especially a couple of the Hereford heifers we've got. Beautiful condition, as always, very quiet, easy to handle, so would make great cows. They're all just now coming up for their breakfast. There's never any particular rush. They all get up there in their own time. They know that it's all there waiting for them. Some mornings they're already up at the trough. They're really good at letting me put the feed down. There's a couple, like Batgirl, she will push me a little bit, but I mean, she is only playing. She doesn't realise how big she's got. That's one of the heifers there that we're hoping would go to be a suckler cow. As you can see, they're all doing pretty well. The smallest one we've got is that Hereford there, Fluffy Face. He was going to come over. Hello, Fluff. He's my baby. He's actually one of the smallest ones we've got, so we'll just follow them up now for their breakfast. These have 100 acres here. It's a bit like a ranch, I suppose. There's no sort of field you can block off here. They come and go where they like. We've got the old railway line, which has got old railway bridges, which is great because they can actually get right down there. So if the weather is bad, they can go under the bridges. The banks are pretty high in some places, about 10 feet, 12 feet high. I'll show you that in a minute. So they can get down there if the weather's bad at all. I say they've got free range here. They can go where they like. They do share it with some sheep, but they don't bother each other. They're perfectly happy all being together. And we always feed them in the same, or I feed them every day. Always feed them in the same spot and the same time every day. If I ever need to bring them in, we do bring them in a few times a year for one thing or another, for worming or if any need treatment. And obviously our TB tests, they're really easy to get in. I just normally call them or shake a sack and they'll come running. They'll follow me pretty much anywhere. I say to them, I'm mom. I've hand reared every single one of these. This was actually the first group that I ever reared any heifers. I only ever did bull calves before. Beautiful blue cross heifer there. And they fatten a lot quicker than bull calves. So some of them are actually gaining on us. They're getting fat. So we want to get the TB test done so we can sell them as stores rather than take them to abattoir ourselves. But we will see what happens. Our TB test is next week. So all being well, fingers crossed, we'll pass that and then we'll get them booked into market then. We may keep all their Hereford steers. We may fatten them ourselves, but we haven't decided that. This is Daddy's girl here. She's a British Blue Cross. Beautiful, quiet, playful heifer. Really, really sweet. She adores my partner, hence the fact she's called Daddy's girl. And they're just on beef rearer nuts. Last year we did put them on the finishing nuts, year before, when we were finishing them ourselves, but these and the calves just all have the 16% protein beef rearer nuts. This trough my partner made about 30 years ago and is still going. He makes all of the equipment, all the troughs. He made the one at the end over there as well. So here they've got I say that's the old railway line just behind my truck there. It goes right the way through these fields here, these 3 fields, and they like to go down here after breakfast because there's apple trees, and they will have their breakfast and then go down and eat the apple trees. If we ever feed silage, then we feed it under the bridge, which is down the bottom, down there. The apple trees would have come from people actually throwing apple cores out of the train window when it went through here, but there hasn't been any trains here for sort of 40 years. But it is a lovely spot for them here. Like I said, they have got 100 acres, and they've got little streams and things where they can go and cool off, and they can get away from any flies. We did use fly treatment this year because it was so hot and muggy. They were starting to suffer a little bit with the flies in their eyes, and that was just a simple 10ml pour on solution, which I just walked along the backs of them when they were eating and just put the 10ml on their shoulders, and that worked really well. As you can see, they're all in pretty good order here. When we turn them out in the spring, they normally get a blackleg, which is vaccine, which is 2 doses, so we have to bring them back in then for that. And said we'll worm them before they come out as well, and normally after they've been out a month or so, we'll worm them. But we don't normally have much problem with worms or liver fluke or anything like that, which is really good. They're all really healthy in this group. In my last video I talked about a calf that actually died, had a heart attack, and that would have been because the cow would have had a selenium deficiency. But apart from that one, I didn't lose any out of this group at all. There's 42 here altogether. They were in 2 herds. We had 15, I believe it was, which was the heifers, were over the other side of the farm. But Batgirl, I can't see her at the moment, she's actually had always been very close to 2 of the heifers, which is Daddy's Girl and Prim, the red one over the back there, and she just didn't seem particularly happy. So we decided that we'd put them all back together again, and Batgirl has been very happy to have her friends back. I never like to split them up from friends. Bullocks, cows, they do actually form friendships the same as sort of humans do, really. And we didn't realise how close she was to the other 2 until we did split them up. So we ended up putting them all back together again. So she's a lot happier now. They're now starting to go off down to the apple trees for their second breakfast. There's Batgirl. She's one of the funniest animals I've ever reared. Playful, sneaky, hilarious, really funny. Sweet when she wants to be, but she can play a little bit rough sometimes, and she's not meaning to hurt anybody. She just doesn't realise how big she is, and she likes sort of headbutting you a little bit. Not badly, she is just playing, but she's a big girl now. So that's them going up to the apple trees there. But really happy with this herd. We've had no problems with any of them at all. Not had any ill once they've been out, no injuries, thank God. So fingers crossed it stays that way. No problems at all with any of them. None of these will have had any antibiotics from when they were sort of 12 weeks old, and they're now 22 months old, which is good. I do like the fact that I use very little antibiotics. Never had to use antibiotics in any of the bullocks. Their growth, again, we've had really good growth rates with these. As calves, they were vaccinated against pneumonia, had the 7ml alleamycin coming onto the farm, treated with paramectin, which is a pour-on for the biting and sucking lice, which we have had a couple of problems with over the last couple of years. Obviously, we bring calves in from multiple different farms because we buy them from market. Here comes Batgirl, and it can spread lice through the group very quickly, and it can cause them to be anemic, lose weight, be depressed. So I like to try and get on top of that. They're all coming up to play now, so I'm going to come down here So now, as a matter of course, once we've sort of bought everything that we're going to buy for the year, then the whole group of calves will be treated then for lice. Hello, Blue. And that will just prevent any loss of growth, any sort of getting ill because of being anemic. So this is the bullocks. I say heifers and steers, but just as a group I just call them the bullocks. It's just easier than saying heifers and steers. Off my number plate back, girl. So hopefully, all being well, these will be sold in the next month. I always miss them when they go, especially as I'm with them every single day of their lives. I feed them, I look after them, play with them. So it is always sad when it's time for them to go, and I always miss them. But then it will be getting prepared for the next lot of calves and start all over again. So they all want to play with me now because I'm here, which I don't mind at all. So hello, Blue. So that's the oldest group.